Welcome to the Pampered Thoughts podcast, where we are inspiring and encouraging women to love themselves as they are without shame or guilt, focusing on topics such as self-love, marriage and family, balance in life and business, and all things woman. Every week, we'll share inspirational topics that focus on helping you to overcome your struggles and limitations with lack of identity, low self-esteem, self-love, confidence, and so much more. I'm your host, Veronica, a wife, mom, speaker, entrepreneur, and more importantly, a daughter of the King. Hey, y'all. Welcome to today's episode of the Pampered Thoughts podcast. I'm your host, Veronica, and I am so glad that you all have joined me today. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you enjoy your stay. You are welcome. And for those of you that have been here before, you come every week and you enjoy listening to the encouragement, the empowerment, and just the inspiration that I give every week. Thank you so much for tuning in every week. You already know that I love you, that I appreciate all of the support for you listening in every week, because you don't have to. And so I truly appreciate each and every one of you. One quick note before we get into what I want to talk about today is that if you haven't visited the website yet, pamperedthoughts.com, I'm offering a free gift for you stopping by, because as I've explained in a couple of the episodes prior, is that we're undergoing some changes. They're going to be changes that affect both you and I, but they're good changes, more so in the benefit of you than they are for me, because I look to serve, I look to help as many women as I can, because I know that this is what the Father has gifted me to do. And if you've already joined the Pampered Squad, then you already know that the changes were coming, but you've also received a link to the free gift. So don't forget to check your email. But for those of you that have not visited the website, please go to pamperedthoughts.com, pick up your free gift, join the Pampered Squad, and yeah, it's going to be great. You'll be able to find out about all the upcoming changes, all of the upcoming new services and products that will be offered. And so I hope that you get a chance to become a part of the Pampered Squad. It's going to be good. It's definitely going to be worth it. I'm excited. So anyway, into what I wanted to talk about today. I want to talk about you having the greatness within you. There is greatness within you. And many of you know I always talk about the things that I'm going through or whatever the Father has given me to share. But this week, I found myself kind of in a place. I was stuck. And when I say I was stuck, I was sitting down at the computer. Sundays are my planning days. And this week I had a hard time trying to plan. I don't know why it was, but I would sit at the computer, because my planner is on my computer, and I would just sit there and stare at the blank screen, at a blank plan calendar, because I just had so many thoughts, so many things going on in my mind as it relates to all of the things that I'm doing in regards to the changes, website, the podcast, all of that. And I just went blank. I wasn't able to plan, but I've started to realize after this first day and got into the second day that I was actually really procrastinating, that I needed to sit in those feelings and I needed to ask the Father and figure out what was going on and why was I procrastinating, because for years I struggled with fear. And I know that procrastination shows up in the form of fear. Some of you may be procrastinators and you feel like, I have to wait until the last minute because the pressure gets me going. But there's something behind that procrastination that's keeping you from moving forward. It's keeping you from accomplishing the task that you need to do. And that could be a form of fear, but also in my case, it was a form of not knowing the next steps, which is actually a fear of the unknown. Because when God begins to call you forth, and he begins to pull and tug at you for you to begin to fulfill your purpose and to walk in your calling. Sometimes the decisions that you have to make can be a little daunting. It can be a little scary because you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how things are going to pan out. Sometimes the instructions he gives you don't always make sense to you and you don't always understand it. But I'm here to let you know that it's time for you to stand up. It's time for you to get moving and to fulfill what God is calling you to do, because there's greatness within you. And because I struggled, like I said before, with the fear and procrastinating, I needed to figure out what was going on. And one thing that I had on my to-do list was to reach out to ladies that I had helped before, whether that was in my graphic design business or whether that was spiritually, for coaching or counseling, whatever area I helped them in business. I wanted to get testimonials so that I can have that information to be able to share with others the results that they've gotten for working with me. And I reached out to one particular team member who we became really good friends, and we were just catching up with one another because it had been a while since I talked to her, and I was just so excited about the things that are happening in her life. Like what you've heard so far? Great. Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the show. And she gave me a testimonial before I was even able to ask. And the Father encouraged me in that because I know that it was Him because of what I had been feeling. Because sometimes when you get into that place and you're feeling stuck or you're procrastinating and you feel like you don't know what's next or what's coming, a lot of times what can happen is that fear can cause you to begin to doubt yourself. It can cause you to begin to sabotage yourself, which is of that procrastination. Procrastination can be a symptom of self-sabotage as well. So begin to sit in those feelings and figure out what it is that you're procrastinating about. What is it that you're going through that will cause you to procrastinate? And so the Father really encouraged me with her giving me the testimony that she gave, because I helped her in a way that I did not even expect. I was thinking that her testimony would go along the lines of the business that I was helping her with, but no, it was not even in regards to the business. It was much greater and much deeper and had more meaning. And that just encouraged me. And I share this with you because I want to encourage you in the hopes that you'll realize that you're no different than me, that we're all made in His image and we all have His supernatural DNA within us. And so because of that, not having that or being kind of in that mind frame of self-sabotage or self-doubt, not sure if this is what I really should be doing when I know it is, but that them thoughts can make you kind of second guess and kind of pull back and draw back because the feelings are unknown to you. Many times that self-doubt or the self-sabotage or the procrastination or those feelings can actually come with transition in your life. If you're suffering from self-doubt or you're suffering from something that would sabotage you to keep you from moving forward, whether that's a fear of rejection, whether that's a fear of people's opinions, whether that's fear of success, fear of failure, fear of whatever it could be, and it's causing you to counteract or is causing you to go opposite of the direction you're supposed to go, a lot of times that can come from transition in your life. Look and see what transitions are happening in your life. For me, when I struggled with that self-doubt and that lack of identity, the lack of self-worth and the lack of confidence, some years back, if you haven't heard a little bit of my testimony, you can go back to some of my original episodes and listen a little bit of my testimony about what I struggled in with lack of confidence and lack of identity and not knowing my purpose and all of that. But all of that came from a transition in my life, and that was a loss of my job. And now that there was a new transition in my life, I had to go from being a working mom to now a stay-at-home mom. That caused me to wonder, because I had trust in what that job brought for me, what that career brought for me, that I lost my worth, or I didn't understand my worth, because I found my worth in what I was doing. So once I lost that caused me to have that self-doubt of knowing, who am I? What am I supposed to be doing? What purpose am I supposed to be feeling? And so a lot of times when you're going through a transition in your life, you begin to have those thoughts of self-doubt, or those thoughts that cause you to counteract the good that you're trying to do to fulfill your purpose. Sometimes it can happen in childhood. You may have a parent or a guardian who goes from being the protector to being a predator of that child. And because that child once had trust and faith in that parent or that guardian, whoever it was, now they have a transition where it's like, I don't know what to think anymore. Who am I? What is going on with me? Because that person turned from protector to predator. You may have someone in a relationship, a transition with that, where that trusted spouse or that boyfriend went from being a loving person to someone who became an abuser. A loss of a loved one. Also, you might get to that point to where it's like, we had plans together, but now what do I do? So recognize what that transition point is for you, and find out how, sit in those feelings and allow the Father to reveal to you, what is it that I'm going through? What is it that's causing me to counteract what I should be doing? What is it that's causing me to sabotage what I should be doing, when I know that you've gifted me, when I know that you've placed these talents and these gifts on the inside of me, but my actions are showing a lot different from what I should be doing. And so these are just some examples that I wanted to give, but all of these examples can plant seeds of self-doubt, because there was a certain trust in someone or something outside of ourselves. And there was a certain connection that we had that we found ourselves comfortable in. And so I want to tell you today to trust what God has placed on the inside of you. Trust what the Father has placed on the inside of you, because a lot of times what can happen from that self-doubt and that self-sabotage is you can begin to become double-minded. You can have all types of confusion, not understanding who you are, what your calling is, what you're supposed to be doing in life, because now your life has transitioned. Now your life has changed. Now the thing that you had trust in, the thing that you once believed, the thing that you have had faith in has now been taken away, or that situation has changed. And so I want to talk about a couple of the signs that show that you're lacking trust in God's greatness within you. And then we're going to talk about what you can do about it, what you can do to begin to build that trust in what the Father has placed on the inside of you. If you're dealing with these signs, then this is how the Father wants to help you today. So the first thing is double-mindedness. You make a decision, but you can't stick with it. You can't even decide. You become undecisive. So you're double-minded in some of the things that you're trying to do. I had this really heavy years ago. I would make one decision, but then I would change it. Sometimes it can kind of creep back up, and I'm like, nope, this is my decision. I'm sticking with it. If I have to change it later down the line, then I'll do that. But for right now, I'm going to stick with this, and this is how it's going to be. Are you feeling that double-mindedness? Are you feeling where you can't trust your own feelings? You can't trust your own thoughts, your own opinions? Are you making decisions but then changing the decisions? Are you undecided and you can't make a decision? Find out if that's what you're dealing with. The second thing is confusion. You're not sure which way you need to go or what you need to be doing. That comes in with that lack of identity, that purpose. Who am I? What am I supposed to be doing? You have a confusion because you know that you're gifted. You know that you have talents. You know that you have skills, but you don't know how to move forward with those. You don't understand how to navigate and go through that. The third thing is self-doubt, which we talked about that. You don't believe in yourself. You don't believe in your abilities. You don't believe in the gifts. The very thing that the Father has placed on the inside of you, you don't believe that you can do it. You don't believe that the gifts he's given to you are for you to use and are for you to impact those that he wants you to impact. So you have that form of self-doubt within you. That shows a lack of trust in God's greatness within you. What can you do about it? To combat the double-mindedness, the first thing is to ask for wisdom. In James 1:5-8, it says that if you lack wisdom, ask God, who gives it to everybody liberally. He's not going to find fault with you. He's not going to rebuke you. He's not going to shame you. He's not going to make you feel guilty for asking for wisdom. If you're not sure, he will give you the wisdom that you need. But the thing about it, and the reason why I said it works for double-mindedness, is because he said, don't ask him for wisdom and not have faith. Because if you don't have faith, you're going to be tossed to and fro. It means that you're double-minded, because you're asking him for one thing, you're asking him for wisdom. And then when he gives it to you, you're not making the decision that you need to make when he gives you the wisdom of what you're supposed to do. And that could be in relation to your physical life, whether that's dealing with your health, whether that's dealing with your wealth, business, your family, whatever the decision you have to make, ask the Father for that wisdom. And when he gives you that wisdom and when he gives you that instruction, stand on it. Because that will help you with the double-mindedness. A lot of times when you don't have the faith, or your faith is lacking, you're open to anything that's thrown at you. You're seeking advice from this mentor or that pastor or this coach or that coach. You're being tossed to and fro, and you're seeking the opinions about your life, about you, how you should be living and doing things, instead of asking the Father, which is the one who actually gives everybody else their wisdom. He said he gives it to all who ask liberally. So if you're seeking this person and that person, I found myself in that place where I was looking at this coach and that coach and just trying to glean, because when you're trying to build a business that you've never built before, you want to seek the wisdom of others. I'm not saying that you can't seek wisdom from others, because the Bible does say that there is wisdom in the multitude of counsel. So it is a good thing to seek wisdom, but no man's wisdom is greater than that of God's. So when you go to the source of all wisdom, you know that that's going to help you to move forward, because what may work for somebody else may not necessarily work for you. So you always want to go to the source of all wisdom, and that's going to alleviate the double-mindedness, because now you have focus and you have clarity, which actually leads me into my next tip, which is to gain clarity and you gain peace. When you gain clarity, you gain peace. And we know this one is dealing with confusion, because when you're double-minded, you're seeking all this advice from different people, then you get a lot of confusion. And so when you go to the Father and you ask him for wisdom, now he's giving you focus, he's giving you clarity. So confusion has to leave, because in 1 Corinthians 14:33, it says that God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. So that means that if you're walking around in a state of confusion, you have to know that that's not of God. And whether it's confusion within yourself, your own internal confusion and your own processes within yourself, or whether it's confusion among other people that involves you or who are around you, wherever that confusion is, the Father is not in that confusion. You just have to know that he's not the author of that confusion. And when you find yourself in a confused state, you need to pull away and you need to find quiet time. You need to get to the root of what's causing that confusion. That could just mean that you need clarity, more direction of what steps you're supposed to take. Maybe there's a step that the Father gave you that you didn't take heed to because you were double-minded and you chose something else over what he said because you didn't think that it was him. So you want to get away, you want to take that quiet time, and you want to sit with him and ask the Father, what is it it, or how can he bring you peace? Because he said those who keep their minds stayed on him, he gives them perfect peace. So we're not to be walking around confused. We're not to be walking around with a lack of faith, in double-mindedness, because we're not trusting him and his directions, but we're sitting at his feet and we're asking the Father to help us to know what we need to do. What are our next steps to move forward? And then once, this is the next tip, this is going to come back to self-doubt, is you just have to step out anyway. Just step out anyway, because in Philippians 4:13, you already know it's a well-known scripture. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. You have to remember that your gifts are not for you. Your purpose is to help others in whatever way God has gifted you to. So whether that's in church, whether that's in schools, you have teachers now that are going back to school to teach the kids, whether that's the doctors and the nurses who are helping with health and healing. There's so many different ways that you can fulfill your purpose in the earth. And it's whatever the way that the Father has gifted you. Because the thing about it is that when you have self-doubt, you're doubting Christ's work within you. In John 15, it says that we can do nothing without him. So the thing, if you're struggling with self-doubt, is because you believe that you're the one that's doing it, when really you're not the one that's doing it. It's the Father working within you. Now, I know it's obvious there are going to be times when you need to develop a certain skill set or develop in areas of your gift. For example, you have doctors and lawyers and actresses and dentists. You have all of these different specialty positions or professions or careers or whatever they are, but they still have to develop some type of a skill set or area in whatever place they're using their gift. So they go to school, they get the degrees that they need, but ultimately it's the Father that helps. He's the one that's given the wisdom. He's the one that's doing the work within them and within you. He's given us power to get wealth. He's given us power to speak, because he said that there's life and death in the power of the tongue. So what we speak, if we speak life, life will happen. If we speak death, death will happen. If we speak, he said, faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. That comes from your voice. That comes from your mouth. That comes from your words. When you speak life, life happens. And so I want to speak life in you today. And I want you to step out in what it is that God is calling you to do. And not only am I speaking to you, but I'm speaking to myself as well. It's time for us to rise up with the times that we're living in, the days that we're living in. It's time for us to rise up and fulfill the purpose that God has placed us here for, because our gifts and our talents are not for us. It's for those that the Father has placed in our sphere of influence. And you can go back to my episode where it talks about, have you buried your gifts? If you don't know what your gifts are, or if you have buried your gifts, go back to the Father, go listen to that episode and seek the Father and ask him to reveal to you what it is that you are supposed to be doing in the earth. What is your purpose in the earth? Why did he create you? Because he is the creator. He is the one who will do what he is planned and purposed to do. He said that his word will not go forth and return back unto him void, meaning that whatever words he speaks forth, whatever promises he's spoken unto you, it will be fulfilled. But you have to work with him. You have to do what you can do in the natural, and he's going to add his super onto that. He's going to make whatever gift, whatever talent, whatever skill that you have, that you've developed, he's going to help you to bring it forth. He's going to help you to produce whatever it is that you have to produce. And so I just wanted to speak to you all, to encourage you all today. The Father really encouraged me this week, because he knocked that bit of self-doubt that was trying to rise up and that was trying to cause me to kind of fall back and to curdle back up again. He knocked that out, because he showed me that you thought that you helped this person in one way, but you really actually helped them in a much deeper, more meaningful way. And that encouraged me so much. And so I want to encourage you all today that you have greatness within you, and that if you just step out, if you just seek the Father for his wisdom, just accept and build your faith in the Father, you will see that the Father will use you in the way that he's destined for you to be used. He will help you to fulfill your purpose because your purpose is already ingrained in you. He said that greater is he that is within you, or within us, or within me, than he that is in the world. So whatever fears you may be feeling, whether it's from people, whether it's from fear of rejection, fear of success, fear of failure, whatever limiting beliefs that you have about yourself, fear that you can't do it, that you're not worthy, begin to tear those thoughts down. Begin to tear those beliefs down, because you have greatness within you. In 1 John 4:4, it says, greater is he that's within you than he that's in the world. And you have to believe that. You have to believe that. And so with that being said, if you have not already, go ahead and go to the Pampered Thoughts website, pamperedthoughts.com, and sign up for the free gift that I'm giving away. I don't want to tell you what it is. I want you to just go there and sign up to be a part of the Pampered Squad, so you can learn about all of our upcoming changes, so that you can be a part of the Pampered Squad to learn about new resources, new content, and just the great things that are happening here and how the Father is working. Also on Instagram and Facebook, follow us at Pampered Thoughts, as well as Twitter at I Am Pampered. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at Veronica_Scurry. And if you need to reach out to me, you have any questions, you are looking for coaching services to help you to begin to deepen your relationship with the Father, or to help you in business, or just as a woman, just reach out to me. I am there for you. I'm here for you. And I'm really looking forward to working with you, to speaking with you, and to helping you to walk out your purpose, to live the life that the Father is calling you to live. So reach out to me on Instagram, send me a DM at Veronica_Scurry, and I will definitely get back to you. And so with that being said, until next time, stay pampered. Thanks for joining us this week on the Pampered Thoughts podcast. Be sure to visit us at www.pamperedthoughts.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, or RSS, so you'll never miss a show. You can also check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Pampered Thoughts, and on Twitter at I Am Pampered. As always, subscribe to the show to catch a new episode every week. And if you found value in the show, please leave a rating on iTunes and tell a friend about us. We want to continue to bring you the episodes you love. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, stay pampered.